Alright, howdy boyos, welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2. Before we get into the faction overview for the OSTFRONT VETERANEN DLC, quick little note, I have a copy of the game AS2 and the DLC to give away to two of you guys because DMS, full disclosure, sent me a copy of the DLC for free, and then 1C Company, the publisher, sent me a copy of both the game and the DLC, and if I already owned them, I could actually give them away to my community. So, comment down below which one you want, either IAS2 or the DLC, and make sure to include your Twitter or your Discord name so I can actually give it to you. Let's get into the review. With that being said, DLC costs $9.99. There's no single player available for it. It's only multiplayer matches or multiplayer versus AI matches, which you do need the Airborne DLC, which is about 6 to 7 or 8 bucks, I believe. So you can actually give bots to either team. So the wording on the DLC page, I think, is not 100% amazing. I feel like it should say multiplayer only at the very top. It shouldn't be at the last sentence. Anyway, that being said, I don't want this to be a dramatic video. I appreciate DMS giving me a copy. I appreciate 1C Company not just giving me a copy of the DLC, but also giving me an entire copy of the game to give away for free if I already own the game. And I understand that in the end of the day, you know, they're both companies. They need to feed their employees just like you need to feed your family or your hamster or whatever you're feeding back at home. So I think the $9.99 price point is a bit too high, but at the same time, I can see why, I suppose. With that being said, I'm not defending DMS. I'm not attacking them either. I don't want this to be a dramatic video. Let's just get going with the faction overview. The Yak Tiger is an 80-point unit, and usually 80-point units are an 8-man squad. This is only a 6-man squad with 1-star accuracy. Granted, I have not played vanilla in such a long time, so what I say when it comes to balancing, take that with a grain of salt. The Yak Tiger, or Light Recon, come armed with 2 Kar 98s and 3 MP40s and an STG-44 with a 3-star accuracy leader, which honestly is quite high for an 80-point unit. Then, they also get AT grenades at 5 AT grenades for the little squad, which is insane because they're actual AT grenades. They're not the fake ones like Molotov grenades that are like man-mag grenades. These are full-on AT grenades, and they will destroy the heaviest of vehicles, whereas normally militia either has no AT grenades or they have shitty Molotovs like the Partisans. Moving on to the Stas Troop, or Assault Squad, 6-man squad, just like the Yak Tiger, they come with captured Russian weaponry, MP41s, PPSHs, and an SVT-40, 6-man squad, all armed with a 3-star accuracy, and they're all wearing the SSP camo. Moving on, from the Stas Troop, we have the Veteranen for 140 points. Again, we see the SSP camo. These guys, for 140, are armed with more longer range weaponry. We have a single MP41 and a PPSH with 3 SVTs and an MG34. So, whereas the Stas Troop, as its name applies, the Assault Squad, has very much focus on automatic weapons with only 1 self-loading rifle in the SVT-40, the Veteranen have 2 SMGs, 3 self-loading rifles, and an MG34. Moving on to the Jaeger for 8 infantry, so for 250 points you get 8 men in a squad. These guys carry 2 MGs, they have scoped G43s, and they have 2 or 3 G41s. So you get 3 scoped G43s, 3 G41s, and 2 MG34s. So a super heavily defense-focused unit with long-range capabilities on their scoped rifles, with decent long range in their G41s, and 2 machine guns at 8 members for 250 points. Gebiets Jaeger, and these might be my new favorite unit in this particular faction. They look absolutely stunning. I gotta give it to DMS. Granted, I think some mods really make infantry skins, as in their faces, are really outstanding in mods like Valor and Robs. These uniforms do look really good, and I don't think they would look bad in a Valor or a Robs. They would fit right in. So what you get here is you get 2 Panzerfausts, you get an STG, multiple STGs, and these STGs are interesting because they're scoped. They're scoped STG-44s, but you are paying 350 manpower. 2 G41s, 2 MP41s with Panzerfaust, and then 4 scoped STG-44s, and all that at 4 stars. One thing that I think is a interesting little thing to mention, These are Panzerfaust 100s. These go up to 30 meters, and there is a squad, which we'll get to, which has Panzerfaust 60s, which only go up to 25 meters. Anyway, that being said, these guys, 4-star accuracy, 8 members, a ton of versatility in AT, and heavy assault capabilities with STG-44s with scopes. Mechanized Gebirgsjäger for a 20-point premium. You get a 250-1 half-track, which at the very most, by the way, only seats 6 people, including 2 crew. And mechanized Gebirgsjäger are the same as a regular Gebirgsjäger. I believe they just surrender a G41 and an STG-44 scoped. But like I said, you do get the half-track with the MG42 on it, so you do get an actual MG that you can gift to one of these members, which they do have 4 stars still. So the 20-point premium, you lose 2 members, you gain an MG42 and a lot of versatility on the half-track with actually some, ammo and grenades and stuff. So it's really, do you need them to be somewhere quick? Get them mechanized. Do you need them to be somewhere not in a hurry? You just want to have elite infantry already? Then get the regular 350-point one because, they have more equipment, but you don't get the awesome MG42, which you can grab off the vehicle. With that being said, I'm not going to take a look at common engineers because they're the same as their regular Wehrmacht. Interesting enough, here's a couple of things. First, veteran tank crew. Much like Rob's, you can call in veteran tank crew, which will actually increase the veterancy of your tanks more than just regular tank crew, but they do come at a premium of, I believe, 5 points, whereas regular tank crew only costs 10. And here's an interesting little thing. We have the regular AT infantry and the veteran AT infantry. Regular AT infantry has 3 Panzerfaust 60s. As you can see, the range on that is only 25 meters. Now the Panzerfaust 100, which I believe these guys do need more Panzerfaust. This might be a little bug or an oversight of the developers. For 70 points, you get 2 guys with 3 Panzerfaust each. So you get 6 Panzerfausts. For 155 points, you only get 2 Panzerfausts, because 1 on each guy. So this always is an oversight. This needs to be upgraded to 2 or 3 Panzerfausts per person. However, the difference here is these are obviously 4-star infantry. These are only 3-star infantry. And the main thing is, and even on their weapon, they're only 2-star infantry. The main thing here is that these guys have a 5 meter shorter range, though I'm not really too sure how much of a difference 5 meters is going to make in the long run. There are Vics. There's a couple of new ones. Here is the Horch or Horch. Sort of basically their Kubelwagen. I believe the Horch is a Hungarian-built vehicle. I believe that this thing does exist, or did exist in previous editions of Men of War. At least definitely does in Valor and in GSM. And I believe it was a Hungarian car, but it has an MG on the top, which goes in a sort of arc about 45-ish degrees from the front of the vehicle. Nothing really special. It's just a larger Kubelwagen, really. Moving on, there is a Stuka zu Fuß, which is a half-track with the ability to fire 280 millimeter rockets. Now, this is the big boy Nebelwerfer. The small boy Nebelwerfer has baby rockets of 150 millimeters. These are almost twice the size at 280. And we've seen in mods that the 280 millimeter rockets are absolutely insane, and they're not really different in Assault Squad 2's OSTFRONT VETERANEN DLC. 280 millimeter rockets are insane, and they destroy pretty much everything in their path. Moving on, there is some new vehicles right here. We have the T34-1 and the SDKFZ 7-2, which actually is a very interesting unit, more so than this one. This is basically an OSTFRONT VETERANEN DLC version of the SDKFZ 222, the armored car with a 20 mil. This is basically one with 8 wheels instead of 4 wheels. It's really nothing different. The skin on it is really good looking. You gotta give it to DMS. They just made a very awesome... The vehicles that are new have very nice looking textures. I gotta give it to them. They do look really, really good. This one, however, is really interesting to me because the Germans don't have the ability to call in a 37mm anti-aircraft gun, though they were definitely used. And this one is a 37mm anti-aircraft gun on a armored carrier, which does look really fucking badass. Kind of looks like a World War I tank to me almost. But this thing is insane. 37mm gun, anti-aircraft gun, kind of means that they're on par with the British Crusader anti-air, or not the Crusader. The 40mm one, I forgot what it's called, but they have an anti-aircraft tank which has a 40mm gun, and I think the Crusader only has a 20mm gun. Basically, what that means is you have an awesome mid-game unit that can withstand machine gun fire or rifle fire, considering it is armored, though the crew obviously is very open, but that's another story. They can destroy any light or even medium vehicle. Hell, I wouldn't even risk a Sherman up against this thing. If this thing gets a couple of shots off on your turret in a bad angle for your Sherman's probably toast. So, adding a nice vehicle for the Germans with some decent capabilities of dealing with light and medium armor is really nice. And the skin on it is absolutely fantastic. There's no way around that. Moving on, there's nothing new in the tank tab. There's nothing new in the tank destroyer tab. However, here's where it gets interesting. We're going to have to take a look at all of these because they're different. So the veteran officer is a 1 SP unit that comes with an officer and 2 Jaeger with a G41. Really not a great buy for... I don't really know why you would buy this. I mean, there's no real... I don't get it. Like, it's a 1-point SP for 3 units, and this guy has ammo grenades, I suppose, is the point. I mean, this guy's 4 stars. I'm not going to spend 1 SP for a 4-star sort of officer-looking dude. So, moving on to the more viable 1-point spend here is the Panzer Shrek squad. Each and every one of these non-Panzer Shrek carrying guys carries 3 rockets. So you get 9 rockets on your assistant. You get 8 rockets, including the one in the tube, on your Panzer Shrek guy. And the range of this is 35 meters. Meaning that you get 17 rockets. 17, sorry, I can't count. You get 17 rockets to kill tanks with, and he does have a 3-star accuracy on his Panzer Shrek, which is awesome. Really awesome little unit to deal with your enemy tanks, because you cannot buy any Panzer Shreks, you can only buy Panzerfaust. So having the 1 SP ability to buy a Panzer Shrek, kind of dangerous because it's still an infantry soldier that dies really easily, but you do have 17 rockets on him. Sorry, it's hard to count. The 234-3, also known as the Stummel, is basically a 234, but it has a 75mm light infantry Geschützgun on the top of it. So you have the downside of it being open-topped and lightly armored. However, a short barrel 75 on a fast chassis with decent mobility is awesome, and we've seen in mods that these Vics are actually really awesome early game, where there's not much you can do against a long-range 75mm HE lobbing monster like this other than a lucky AT rifle. The Stas Battalion is interesting. They are a 3-star unit of Stas Battalion infantry with an MG34, multiple rifles with Panzerfausts in backup, and 3 PPSHs. So you have your assault section, your support section, and your MG. The MG also carries an ammo grenade, so he's not going to run out of ammo anytime soon. You have 3 guys with a bunch of grenades, and then you have your 4 Panzerfausts 100s, which do go up to 30 meters. So you have an 8-man section for 3-star accuracy. I'm really confused why these guys are so high in their accuracy. I believe these guys should be a 1-point unit, because Stas Battalions were not necessarily made out of the best or the most morally high units. They were men that were said or told, listen, we got a minefield here, you're going to have to clear it, and if you survive running through a minefield, you can get sent back to your unit and you'll be, you know, re-honored, or you won't be dishonored anymore. Or, we need you to charge this position, you're probably going to die. If you do survive, you can go to your old unit again. It was not necessarily the most high of morale units. They were basically, it's either you die here on the spot because we'll execute you, or you can try and survive by dying for the fatherland. Kind of confused why they have 3 stars, but whatever. Sure, 2 SP for that unit. Oh. Then the Stas Troop, which is basically a very interesting unit because they come with some very cool equipment. First of all, they come with a 250-11, which has a 28mm anti-tank rifle, or I guess at this point you could call it a very small anti-tank gun on the top of the half-track. They are mostly Gebirgsjäger besides the Panzer Shrek carrying guy, which still gives you a 3-star accuracy, 3-star accurate Panzer Shrek. You get 1 Panzerfaust, and then you get some scoped STG-44s. For 3 points, I'm not sure if it's really worth it. This anti-tank rifle / gun isn't going to do anything against heavier vehicles. Granted, you do get a Panzerfaust and a Panzer Shrek, and some 4-star infantry, but is it really worth it? Because this thing by itself is probably one of those 3 points, right? So if it came without the vehicle, or it came into Hork or Horch, because this can carry, oh, it can only carry 3 members, never mind. It'd be cool to have something a little bit less point costing than this thing, because it's not really going to do much, and I don't want to spend 2 4-star infantry to man this. So I would basically call it onto the field, drive it up behind my lines, get all the guys out, put 2 riflemen in it, or 2 tank crew even, and then use the infantry as his regular infantry. But I mean, there's maybe a strategy there that I'm not really thinking about, but I don't really see it being useful for 3 SP. Moving on to the 234-4, which is a really awesome unit. It's basically a PaK-40 anti-tank, which is a very capable and proven anti-tank gun on the chassis of a 234, which gives it a lot of mobility and firepower on a very light chassis that's very mobile, can rush over the battlefield, deliver a very big punch, because the PaK-40 is an absolute insanely awesome gun in itself, and having that on a quick chassis is awesome. The thing is, I'm so used to Rob's and Valor ranges that I'm not sure how effective it's going to be in vanilla, but having a vehicle like that is really awesome. Moving on to the radio operator, not really sure what to say. It's a fucking radio operator. I mean, like, what do you want to say here, right? It's just a radio operator, so we're going to move on. Then the Panzer T34. This one comes with some infantry on the back. It's basically, Beute means loot panzer, or booty as in pirate booty panzer, T34-85. It's a stolen or acquired T34-85 that the Germans then painted in very obvious colors with giant German markings on it to make sure it wouldn't get friendly fired by other units. And for 4 special points, it's kind of a high premium, so you can get 2 of these and still have 2 points left for 2 Panzerschreck squads or Stummel or whatever. So they do have 4 extra guys, which are 4 Jaegers armed with G41s, it looks like. So you do get some infantry with it. The tank crew is veteran tank crew. I'm not really sure. This percentage seems to just be at 100% for some reason, though. But maybe it doesn't really do anything, I suppose. I mean, that's always kind of weirded me out. The veterancy on vehicles is always kind of like being a bit weird to me. But so 4 Jaeger, a T34-85, which is a very capable tank. Like I don't know what to say about it. It's just a very capable tank. I would put this on par, if not beyond, a Panzer IV, and obviously definitely a Sherman 76. I would put this T34-85 just below a Panther. It's got a really good gun. It's got good mobility. The armor is obviously a little less than a Panther, but goddamn, a T34-85 scare me when I have a Tiger on the field. When I have a Tiger and I come up against a T34-85, I still have that feeling that if he fires first, he can fuck me up. So T34-85 for 4 special points, definitely not a bad little unit. If you don't want to spend money on German tanks, which, to get an equal sort of tank, you're looking at, well, there's a really big increase here from 600 to 1250. So you can either get 2 Panzer IVs for 1200 MP, or you can just get a single Beute Panzer T34 or 2 Beute Panzer T34s for 8 SP. So interesting little option you have there. The Schweres Wurfgerät is nothing more than just a Stuka-Sufus, but the actual like pushed cart version of it, just like the number word with the 150. This is the exact same version of the Stuka-Sufus, but it's actually the one that originally was designed that way. We have the SDKFZ-8 Flak 37, which is a really cool unit. It's basically a giant 88mm flak gun on the rear chassis of a giant half-track. It does have a limited traverse rate. I believe it doesn't go fully. It does about a 250, 210 degree full radius of turn. It does it really fast, though. And I feel this needs to be nerfed. Maybe, like I said, I haven't played vanilla in forever, but it just feels like the rotation speed in this turret, watch this. For a Flak 88 is way too fast. You cannot really flank this vehicle. But maybe in vanilla it works, but to me that seems it's a really fast rotation. It's really awesome to see. It's got the armored carrier again. The crew is not even that vulnerable from the front. It's very vulnerable from the side, obviously. But really awesome weapon. The 88 is absolutely disgusting in Men of War. It's always been scary as fuck. Having it on a mobile chassis is just insane. The last 2 Vics are the Brummbär for 6 SP, which is a Panzer IV chassis with a 150mm gun. I love the 150mm gun. I love the Panzer IV. Having them combined in a 100mm armor chassis is insane. The Brummbär, I guess it's Sturmpanzer Brummbär. The Sturmpanzer Brummbär is amazing. It's such a cool tank. I love the design of it. And if we drive that at a shadow here, it does look really good. They did a really good job texturing this tank, this vehicle. I gotta say, I don't think it's worth $9.99, but the textures on the new vehicles are really, really good looking. Last but not least in the SP, it's not a new tank, but I wanted to take a quick look at it. This is the Yak Tiger. I'm not going to discuss it a lot. I just think that if you look at this, let me just buy a Brummbär too. So we have the Brummbär and we have the Yak Tiger. And you can obviously see a very big difference in the Brummbär quality and the Yak Tiger quality. With the Yak Tiger being a model, I'm assuming from Men of War Assault Squad 1, if not from previous games that I never really upgraded. And I think for $9.99, if they upgraded all these tanks to be high quality, because look at this. This is a really bad quality vehicle compared to this. You can actually see the, like, teeth on the drive wheels here. And then here, it's just kind of a giant mess. So, really hoping that at one point we'll get maybe Men of War Assault Squad 3. Maybe we'll get an overhaul for all the tanks in vanilla Men of War. I think it would be awesome to see every single vehicle in Assault Squad 2 be on the absolute premium, no doubt about it, the absolute premium texture quality of this Brummbär. With that being said, I hope you guys were interested in this video. I didn't mean to create drama with the whole DMS situation, that the fact that the DLC is a little bit on the higher end of the price point to me. I still appreciate them sending me a copy. And in the end, I'm not going to give up playing Men of War Assault Squad 2 because they released a DLC that I think is overpriced. However, I don't play vanilla, and the only real reason I'm interested in this DLC is to see people like Robs or people like Norman who works on Valor to take this faction and create something awesome with this faction to make a new video possible in the future where we take a look at Valor or Robs with the OSTFRONT Veteran DLC and take a look and see what they made possible with this faction. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to stay awesome. Cheers.